One of the main architects of bringing Jeremy Corbyn's leadership is under fire. Many of you know who he is, and that's Morgan McSweeney, who many describe as the shadow prime minister. Back in February last year, it was revealed that Morgan McSweeney hid nearly £700,000 of donations through the think tank Labour Together and misled regulators to boost Starmer's rise. During the time, there had been a handful of outlets who reported the story, but it didn't get major attention until now. Recent media reports have now suddenly jumped nearly the 2-year-old expose after a book titled The Fraud, Keir Starmer, Morgan McSweeney and the Crisis of British Democracy, which draws on Labour Party files, including some never seen by the public, which exposes the behind-the-scenes strategies and deceptions that helped Keir Starmer to Downing Street. In extracts of The Fraud seen by The Times, the author Paul Holden asked whether the Commission investigation was made aware of emails and a phone call between McSweeney and the Commission in late 2017 and early 2018. Freedom of Information requests revealed that Commission staff explicitly told McSweeney in 2017 that the group must declare donations within 30 days. The book has already prompted the resignation of Paul Ovenden, the Prime Minister's Director of Political Strategy, over crude remarks made about Diane Abbott in 2017. Now, for many of us, we have known about this story about Labour Together and the undermining of Jeremy Corbyn for a long, long time. Yet, at the time, the media were quiet. These things didn't matter. Many journalists knew a lot about the behind-the-scenes scandals that were eventually revealed in the Labour files. Yet, it's very convenient that it's being discussed now that this Labour government is widely disliked. The media would have done its job properly had they reported these facts back in 2017 when it mattered. Kevin, why do you think the media have suddenly taken an interest in this story? Do you think it's because the establishment is already finished with Keir Starmer and Morgan McSweeney?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. What the establishment have always required, whether it be from their handled leadership in the Conservative Party or their handled leadership in the Labour Party, is a reasonable salesperson who is popular enough that they can get away with doing the bidding of capital as if they're doing the bidding of the British people. And he was the right man for the right position, given that even though it was a loveless majority, he did get a majority a year ago. And because he had no plan for government, and no charisma and no charm, and frankly is just one of the most dislikable people ever to hold that office, and of course is engaging in a genocide, etc., etc. He's now about as popular as getting rabies or something. He's absolutely hole below the waterline. He is soiled goods, and they know that, and so there's blood in the water. And they can sense it, and the sharks are circling. And that you can always tell with the British media because they are ruthless, evil, self-absorbed bastards, almost to a person, all of them. And so they sense that the Labour Together project is no more. It is not long for this world, and that Keir Starmer will be gone by probably at the very latest this time next year. And so he and the actual prime ministers, which is Morgan McSweeney and the withered corpse, otherwise known as Pat McFadden, are the actual sort of shadow government behind the scenes, because Keir Starmer is just a puppet that Labour Together have been using as their mouthpiece. They're not long for this world, politically speaking. And so, the British establishment are to cast them aside and to try and get another reasonable, vaguely popular person, whether it be Wes Streeting or Andy Burnham or whoever, to do the bidding of capital in the halls of Downing Street. They're going to come for him. Even having sat on this information, they've now all of a sudden gained a conscience and are telling the British public so they can make an informed decision. It's the same old, same old. If the British press had given a damn about probity and truth and informing the public so as to make the best political choice on behalf of the nation, the Labour files would not have been necessary, let alone the fact that they were buried by the British press. The British establishment knew that Jeremy Corbyn was something of a threat, and so he had to be dealt with. And they got their man in, and it's been an absolute disaster. But not for the people that matter. The people that matter have gotten richer. Everyone else has been completely shafted.
Yeah, and I guess it's not just about one aid, is it? Like it is, it's about the hypocrisy of Starmer's Labour. Like it's been hypocrisy after hypocrisy, and the whole thing is just laughable to watch. Like this is a man, Starmer, I'm talking about here, who branded himself as Mr. Integrity, as like I'm here to fix politics and I'm here for the people. Like with his nasal condition. But like after all the chaos of the Tories, and yet here we are dealing with his most powerful lieutenant accused of playing the same dark money games that we've come to expect from a Tory government. I think Labour just want to look squeaky clean as much as possible, but the irony is that they never can and they never will and they never could, because you've got all of these weird donations being funneled, like, or not being declared properly through these I don't know, shadowy think tanks. Like, I don't know, it's fucking weird. Like, so yeah, I would say that the Tories are hypocrites for clutching their pearls, like they've got the Russian donors and whatever. But Labour, like, you're a problem. It's a problem.
It's corruption upon corruption. And it goes right back to the very earliest opportunity they had to do this corruption, because, of course, there are spending rules and donation rules during the course of an election, up until the last week of that election, by which time it's basically too late for them to spend the money on the election. So you can basically accept, donations from anywhere. And the Labour Party got a donation randomly of £4 million, quite a lot of money, from a group called Quadrilla Capital, who are a private equity hedge fund who did very well out of their investment, I'm quite sure, in terms of government contracts or whatever, although I'm sure they went through the right channels, etc., etc. No legal claims being made by me. Just, it seems a little bit iffy. Everything from the fact that his wife got her dresses paid for by private money, by Lord Ali paying for his glasses and his Arsenal tickets to get access into Downing Street, all the rest of it. This has been one of the most thoroughly corrupt governments that's ever existed. And that's following probably financially, in terms of total amount, the most corrupt government in British history. Because the Tories, they swang for the fences on this. They went, we're not just doing small level corruption. We're going to do like 200 million quid's worth of money pissed up the wall on PPE contracts and stuff. They went big. They went real big. Whereas this government have gone small but constant. It's across every aspect of government. It's just corruption, 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 all the way down. It's layer upon layer. It is very much the lasagna of financial impropriety on behalf of the government. You've got a health secretary with links to private healthcare, which frankly should have led to terms of service related direct action possibilities, let's say, in the streets. And you've got a British Prime Minister who is governing on behalf clearly of his donors and of his own sort of political class rather than the British people, who's broken every single policy claim that he made before the election, and especially those he made in trying to become the Labour leader, and has completely betrayed all of those things. This is genuinely, I think we can now say, more corrupt in totality, if not necessarily total amount of money stolen from the British people. But in terms of the completeness of the corruption, be it financial or ethical, given the concerns with, let's say, Jeffrey Epstein's yum friend, this is the most corrupt government that's ever existed in British history.
You're absolutely right. And I guess I want to know about the future, because we've got many unnamed Labour MPs that think it's curtains for Starmer. But do you think he'll even make it to next May? And do you think it's the end of McSweeney too?
I think it has to be the end of McSweeney. I don't see how that realistically can continue. If anything, the thing that really made his reshuffle pointless was the fact that McSweeney wasn't moved or McFadden wasn't moved. These people were allowed to just be. And yet they're the real problem. Just moving the deck chairs on the Titanic doesn't really get rid of the massive hole in the side of the boat that's sinking it, And that's essentially what he did. I think he'll have to get rid of McFadden. I think it's a little bit reminds me of the Alistair Campbell thing, that you're supposed to be behind the scenes. You're not supposed to be the story. You're supposed to be the one telling the story. And as soon as you become the headline, you essentially have to leave. It's like the kind of veil has been removed, the mask has been ripped away, you have to leave the stage at that point. And in terms of Starmer, I think a lot of people are being overly optimistic in saying that they think he gets to the next round of local elections, because look at the numbers. They're going in one direction, and they don't have much further to be able to go in that direction before they literally hit rock bottom and nobody at all likes him anymore. Like, even within his own party, he doesn't have a majority of people who think he's doing a good job. That's his own party members. Like, that's insane. The country hate him.